speed where we are on our Joshua series, especially with this is a tough sermon all the way around, so hang in there. Okay? You're going to have Moses bringing the children of Israel up, seeing the promised land, dies, and then Joshua brings the children of Israel across the Jordan during flood stage. We went to seed on that, telling how actually that worked. The water backed up literally about 10, 15 miles upstream, stacked up. Literally 1 to 6 million people actually walk across the Jordan during flood stage, which is the Mississippi style river. It's not the little river that you have now with 2 hydroelectric dams that are stuck on it and a lot of irrigation pulled in it. This one, every spring, got to be about a mile wide. You had the Zor, which is the actual riverbed itself, full, which it normally is, and then the Gior, which is the leached out part, which goes a half mile on each side of the river. And literally the river stacks up. Joshua getting to see, he's getting exactly what Moses got with going across the Red Sea. When he crosses the Jordan River, and you can see, I brought this map in for you to see the roads and stuff. It's a major thoroughfare going over toward Jericho. Now they're going to stay in a town that they literally almost produced themselves. 1 to 6 million people make up a town just about everywhere you go. And they call that town Gilgal. Okay? And Gilgal is going to be literally, it means my sins have been rolled away, so to speak. It's a rolling type of thing. Now, while they crossed the Jordan, you'll remember that the children of Israel were told, one of you guys from each of the 12 tribes put up big marking stones in the middle of the Jordan River. Put them there, because they couldn't get there otherwise. Then bring a huge rock with you that where we're going to camp tonight, which we're going to be end up calling Gilgal, is that we're going to have 12 stones there, so forevermore, when our children pass by it, they'll go, why are these weird stones here? And it's kind of funny because even today there are 12 round stones in Gilgal. We don't know if they're the original ones or someone planted them, we don't know. But they're there. It's the only place that has round stones of remembrance. Israel is full of stones of remembrance. They're oddball, look like giant, big fat stones just stuck in the ground, so that you would come by and say, why is that stone there? Glad you asked. Okay? Well, they would literally say 12 big stones there. Why is it there? Well, they crossed the Jordan River. There's 12 of those stones in the bottom of the Jordan River right now because there are 12 stones here. There's stones of remembrance. God cut it off so that we could come across and take the land that He promised us. Now, you remember the story last week or so that we talked about Jericho. It's the first big obstacle coming into the Holy Land. It is the oldest fortified city in the world, and that includes Chinese history. It is, as far as history goes back, there's been a Jericho. Okay? Literally, it is just a defensible, wonderful city, sits right on top of a hump in the ground that is flat, and this big mound there. And literally towns upon towns upon towns have been built on top of one another. And Jericho was a wonderful fortified city in that it had a 2-wall structure. You'll see it in a second. But the 2-wall structure was that they built a moat around the city, a dry moat, didn't have water in it, but you had to go down into it. So if you're going to attack the city, first of all, you're going to show them the tops of your head as you're coming down into this ancient city. You had to go down, then up a big embankment of rock with a wall on top of that. Once you got up and scaled that, there was a gap of line of probably about 200 yards or so of just dirt, and then another wall. So there was killing zones as you would go along. What they finally found out was that's really good real estate down there just to have between the 2 walls, so they really reinforced it. They're still there, by the way. Timbers and stuff were stuck into there so that they could actually build houses. So that was sort of the other side of the tracks, as it were, that you would have, folks of lesser means would be living in that gap between the walls, but there was two walls and it was formidable. No one could take this place. It was just great. God said to Joshua, you're not only going to take the place, you're going to ransack it in a day. Now, here's your strategy. Strategy is, for 6 days straight, you're going to get out there, be quiet, no one's going to say a word. You take the Ark of the Covenant out there, that little box, the little one with the cherubims on the top of it. It's a 2.5 foot by about 4 foot box. It's not big, but it symbolizes the presence of God with them. And literally, you're going to walk it around along with the soldiers and a bunch of other folks, dead silent, except shofars or horns, and they're going to be honking around one time. You go back to camp at Gilgal. Next day, come out, go around. No one saying a word. Do that 6 days over. 7th day, you're going to come and walk around the whole place. And it's a long walk. It's like an hour walk around the thing. So I want you to walk around it 7 times. Blow the horn. At the end, what I want you to do is, when the horns blow loud, everyone, all around, 360 degrees around those walls, yell as loud as you can yell. And literally the walls will come falling down. What a strategy! You ever thought about that for just a minute? Like, oh, you're going to get battering rams, you're going to get catapults. No, you're going to walk around and honk horns and be quiet, and then you're going to yell real big. That doesn't sound much like a strategy, except if God tells you to do it. God tells you to do it, He comes through. And literally, that's exactly what happened. They come to the 7th day, they blow those silly horns, they all yell, and God literally brings the walls down. And it's not just a wall, it's an entire wall system. It goes clear up between the walls, the in-between, everything, and they're able to attack 360 degrees, which no ancient city could survive. They're always ready for one gap in the wall where they can all come and kind of breach that gap. No, this, they all fall, they all get taken. Now, God had already told them, here's what I want you to do. It's not every battle you're going to happen to you, but I want you to do it on this one because it's such a big town and big in everybody's brain, and I'm setting a standard by which we're going to go with from now on, is I want you to go in and literally we're going to just break the city. If you find gold, silver, bronze, iron, any of that kind of stuff, I want you to put it in bags and bring it in. It's going to go in the temple treasury. Nothing from Jericho goes in your pocket. Now, that's not going to be the way it is on every one of these, but for this one, the ban is on. Nothing comes back into the camp except into the treasury. That's just it. It's with Jericho. It's not everyone. It's just this one. And that's exactly what happened. They brought all the stuff in. They stuffed it in and said, okay, Lord, this is yours. You get the first fruits. First time we come into the land, we take this one city. You get it all. The same way that we kind of throw in and say, if you're going to give an offering to the Lord, give it off the top, not what's left after everything else is paid and all that. Well, here, gone, years and years ago, it's been about 4 lifetimes ago, my wife and I did children's worship at a huge church when we were in seminary and stuff in Texas. And we had about 150 kids in the basement of a big First Baptist type of church with terrazzo floors. That was during the break dance era. We had Vietnamese kids that couldn't speak English, and boy, could they break dance. They could spin on that terrazzo. It was great stuff. But it was so funny to see the kids who had parents that actually attended the church, and what they would give them to give. We had an offering, we had sermon, we had everything, just like a regular church. It was just a little scaled down for kids. And to see the kids that wanted their, not necessarily their money to go in the plate, George was screaming as that dollar, they were pinching that bad boy. Oh, it hurt them to put that in. They were saying, no, we're glad. God, you've got it. This is off the top. It's yours. Now, you ready? Here we go. But the children of Israel, and this is chapter 7, verse 1. Now, children of Israel committed a trespass against the accursed things. The accursed things are not accursed because they're things. The accursed thing was, it was supposed to come in, it's God's stuff. Now you're presuming on God to take his stuff. It's for Achan. Now we'll all be Achan on this one. Okay, here we go. That's cute. Thank you all. Wait for your laugh. No. I'll be waiting all day. Okay. It says, literally, they took the accursed things, so the anger of the Lord burned against the children of Israel. The point I want to make is, God's not happy with them, and they don't have a clue. This is a hidden thing. Achan didn't run all over town and say, hey, look what I got. He goes and hides this stuff. He found some gold, he found some silver, and more than those two things, because you're going to find toward the end of the story, Achan's a rich guy. He's got tons of stuff. He's got money, he's got kids, he's got family, he's got cattle, he's got donkeys, he's got all kinds of stuff. He doesn't need that stuff. Gold and silver, you can never get enough of, so he scarfed some of that. The biggest thing is that Babylonian robe. That Babylonian robe was not just wealthy stuff, it was chic. And chic is unique. And this would look so good on the missus whenever we're going to go to a party or something for this little frock to be put on. So he goes and hides it. You know he's guilty because he hides it under his tent. Not hanging on the tent, under the tent. Hiding. You ready? I want to throw this in for you. I found this. I thought you might want to like this because I always say the ites. All the ites of one kind, Canaanites, Gileadites, Girgashites, mosquito bite, all kinds of ites. Literally, they're moving here. They're working with Canaanites. They're going to go up and start working with Hittites up here. Jebusites are going to be the ones near Jerusalem. But they're going to go up into the hill country from here to there. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So it's Canaanites up to the Hittites. But I want you to realize, even today, Israel is at its widest, not the West Bank, that they've given half of it away because we made them. But literally from here to here, it's only 50 miles. From here to here is only 200 miles. That's why you have modern jets being able to fly over Israel in about 4 or 5 minutes. Literally, if they've got afterburners on and stuff like that, they can cover the whole country in a matter of, just seconds. That's why they're scared to death with somebody shooting rockets from one end to the other. It's a little cramped space. Look at all these people groups in 200 miles by 50 miles. This is crowded places. They've been going 400 years in slavery. The land just doesn't sit there. The Israelis are going to have to take back their land. The towns we're going to be looking at today is Jericho down here. Ai is up here. Bethel is right next to it. But you're going to have Ai and Jericho right here. That's what we're going to be looking at today. Put in your little crayons. Here we go. So, spies sent to Ai. Now, verse number 2. Now Joshua sent men to Jericho, from Jericho up to Ai. Realize it is a climb. You're going from 800 feet below sea level to 2,500 feet above sea level. That's the climb you're going to have to make up to Ai. And so they go up to Beth Haven, which is not a really great name in Hebrew stuff. All these names are not really well cared for names all the way around on Beth Haven, on the east side of Bethel. And so they spoke to them saying, go and spy out the country. So they went and came back, and they were going to report into Joshua. It says, do not let all the people go up there, for they let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and attack Ai. For we don't want to weary all the people, for the people of Ai are few. There's about 12,000 people total, maybe 1,500 to 2,500 fighting men, that kind of thing. So don't send a bunch of folks up there. Don't, millions of people walking up those wadis and stuff. You don't want that. Just send us up, we'll wipe up on them. We're going to just take them, no problem at all. To borrow a political phrase, it's the JV team. Okay, here we go. You ready? Here we go. So, presuming on God. So they took about 3,000 men and went up there from the people, and they fled before the people of Ai. What? What? We were supposed to win. We're the overdogs now. We were the underdogs all the way through our lives. We finally got we're the favorite. No, here it comes. But they fled before the people of Ai, and the men of Ai struck down about 36 men. Now, in ancient war, that was tough stuff, because you usually got annihilated, or if you were the annihilators, in other words, you were chasing people down, there was a lot of times that you didn't lose hardly any men, let alone a man, let alone 36 men. That was a huge defeat. Now, we look at it and go, well, yeah, 3,000 people up there, losing 36, that's kind of... No, it wasn't in ancient time. This is a horrendous, bad defeat. And they came running back home, so to speak, all the way down. Therefore, the hearts of the people were melted and became like water. Get an idea? That's a good topo map. Okay, Jericho all the way up into Ai, right here. And then they get defeated and run all the way back down. Help me, okay? There they come. I got this one from a children's thing. The Israeli looks, this was the best one I ever saw. I went, that's perfect. That's exactly what they look like. What? They're not supposed to be doing this? Yikes. Oh, goodness. Okay, here we go. Now, and by the way, if you'll notice, this is the first time, too, on the Ai thing, that Joshua doesn't consult the Lord at all. Oh, we got this one handled. Okay? Same way that we have some stuff in our lives and go, oh, we got this one handled, Lord. I'll call on you when I get the tough stuff. You know, right now, I can handle this one. Okay? Now we bring God into this thing. And so Joshua tore his clothes, it shows mourning, and fell down on the earth on his face before the ark of the Lord until evening, and he and the elders of Israel, and they put dust on their heads, and Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, says, you have brought this people over the Jordan and all to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites and every other ite that isn't around there to destroy us, and all that we've been content to just dwell on the other side of the Jordan. Oh Lord, what shall we do when Israel turns its back on its enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants will hear about it and surround us and cut us off. Then what will you do for your great name? Whining, you know, Lord. Boy, isn't that the way it is? A lot of times we figure out what would be really nice for God. We jump in and say, God, join us in this big... And God says, that was never my idea. You know, you're out there, and it might be a nice idea that you thought of, but I didn't think of that idea. It would be much rather to find out what I'm doing and join me in my work rather than you ask me to come and join you in your work. Who's God here anyway? Yeah. Boy, that's quiet. I don't know. All right, here we go. Verse number 10. The Lord said to Joshua, get up. Why do you lie on your face? That Israel has sinned. It's not all about you, Joshua, okay? And your rep, or even my rep, God says. Get up. Israel has sinned and has transgressed my covenant, which I have commanded them. For they've taken some of the accursed things. It's not the things that are accursed because they were supposed to come into him on this one battle, bring it all in, you didn't do it, and have stolen and deceived. Stolen and deceived. Both. Realize that is a public thing. He brought that stuff into the tent. There's no one alone in an ancient tent like that. People are coming and one looks like a bus stop. You know, Forrest Gump could be sitting in there. Okay? Literally, he dug this up. The family knows about it, and it is the family's secret. Oh, welcome to the hills. I grew up in backwoods West Virginia, and every family has a family secret. Some uncle messed up somewhere, okay? Some brother, some dad, some mom. There's always a secret somewhere, okay? This is our secret. We've got 3 things dug up in a hole underneath the tent. But wait till we have a garden party. I've got a Babylonian robe that you won't believe. Oh man, I'm going to look good, okay? Israel has sinned, transgressed the covenant. Or they've taken some of that stuff and they also have put it among their own stuff. My stuff, not their stuff, but they say it is. Ready? Here it comes. Get this. God takes sin very seriously. We can say that all day long, and when we come to church, we get a grip on it. At home, we don't. Therefore, children of Israel could not stand before their enemies and have turned from their enemies because they had become doomed to destruction. That's all the people. And Joshua, yourself, that I told you, I'm not going to leave you, I'm not going to forsake you and all that. If you follow my stuff, you've got hidden sin in the camp that you're not aware of. You're thinking it's just, oh, poor me, go up by the altar here, what's wrong? You know, whatever everybody's going to say about us, they're going to come and get us. He says, neither will I be with you, Joshua, anymore unless you destroy this accursed thing among you. Serious stuff. We have a tendency to look at sin and go, oh, well, God will wink at that, you know. And it's like everybody sins, you know, and I'm not any worse sinner, and you always pick out someone way worse than you if you're going to compare yourself. You ever notice that, you know? Yeah, compared to, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer, I'm pretty good, you know. Compared to some mass murderer of some kind, I'm pretty good. Well, yes, but how are you compared to someone who's more righteous than you? Well, we don't do that. Here we go. Ready? What do you got to do? Identify and cauterize the sin. It says, in the morning, there shall be brought to you according to the tribes. All that is going to come together, which the Lord takes, shall come according to the families. And the family which the Lord shall come by household. The household is going to narrow it down. Then it shall come to the one who's taken the accursed thing. And watch what God said. It shall be burned with fire. He and all that he has. Pretty serious stuff, isn't it? Because he's transgressed the covenant of the Lord, because he's done this disgraceful thing in Israel. I love it. The next day, doesn't wait a week to discuss it with anybody. It's what God says. Here it comes. Literally, 12 tribes of Israel. We're going to cast lots or whatever, how they did it. All at once, uh-oh, it's Judah. The tribe of Judah. Now let's bring in all the heads of the tribes of Judah. Oh, it's this tribe. Oh, it's this guy. It's his land. Bring it in. Finally, they get it clear down to Achan. Okay? Not Achan back. Here it comes. Ready? Here it goes. It says, behold, your sin will find you out. By the way, it's an Old Testament, not a New Testament thing. It's in Numbers, chapter 23, I think. It's really the talk with Moses. He says, you'll follow all these things and you'll be okay. But if you don't, behold, your sin will find you out. Okay? I love it. Boy, if I heard that as a kid once, I heard that a ton of times. Okay? Behold, your sin. And what was, Lou always had to go. My mother's name was Ella Lou. And Lou's statement was always, straighten up and fly right. I never really figured that one out other than I had bad posture. But here we go. And now Joshua said to Achan, my son, I beg you, give glory to God of Israel and make confession to him and tell me what you've done, and do not hide it from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and this is what I've done. Watch the steps down. I saw the spoils, in the spoils, a beautiful Babylonian garment. 200 shekels of silver, which you can never get enough of, a wedge of gold, which you can really never get enough of, weighing about 50 shekels. I coveted them, and I took them, and then that they are hidden in the earth amidst the tent and the silver under it. Notice the steps down. I saw, I coveted, I took, and then I hid. Boy, isn't that the way sin grabs you. You see it, you want it, you take it, then you hide it. Nobody knows. Not going to hurt anybody. They got, man, you should see the mound of gold and silver they got over in the temple treasure. They're going to miss that. Certainly not this Babylonian frock over here. They're not going to worry about that. Who knows? Nobody. Who cares? Nobody. Not skin off anybody's nose. You know, you might get a little more than somebody else. That's okay, you know. Literally, I can hide it. You know, it's kind of like nice stuff, nice stuff. Doesn't look so nice now, does it? I hope your sin will find you out. Anytime that you do something you just plain knows wrong, boy, if it's made public, woo, embarrass it. It's you. Ready? Then Joshua and all of Israel took Achan, all the silver, the garment, the wedge of gold, his son, his daughter, his oxen, his donkey, his sheep, and his tent. This guy was not, poor as Job's turkey. He's not poor. He had stuff. He just wanted more stuff. And they took him literally to a valley called Achor. Means trouble. Valley of trouble. It says, "Why have you troubled us? And the Lord will trouble you this day." So all of Israel stoned them with stones. Not just Dad, the whole group. Burned them with fire, and then heaped stones upon the stones. In other words, stone you to death, burn you, then put a huge mound of stones over top of it. Now, this one's for Frank. I always told you. Okay? Frank, I have this because it's a nasty story and all that kind of stuff. But the one I like was, look at this guy's throwing arm. Yeah. You should recruit this guy. That is a peg him out at home arm right there. Frank. I looked at that and went, oh, Frank, there you go. We need that guy. That's an arm and a half there. Here we go. Then they raised great heap of stones over them, and it's still there to this day, not only to this writing, so that the readers could put in, there are 12 stones at Gilgal that talk about a river crossing, but in the Valley of Trouble, there's a mound of rocks that says God takes sin really seriously. More seriously than we would, especially if it's Achan. No, the whole family's in on this thing, and the whole family, literally Israel, had to see God means what He says within His Word. Period. It's like, that's harsh stuff. Yeah, it is. Why? Because God's holy. Why do we think it's harsh? Because we're not God. Ready? And so the Lord turned His fears from His fierce anger, and says, therefore, that place will be called the Valley of Trouble, Achor, until even this day. Ready? Back on track. Chapter 8, verse number 1. Now the Lord said to Joshua, do not be dismayed. Take all the people of war that you have with you, arise and go up to Ai. See, I have given you in your hand the king of Ai and his people and his city and his land. Don't dwell on this. Remember, I'm serious about sin, but now get back on track. Here we go. We're going to get this thing done. And you shall do this to Ai, as the king did to you at Jericho and its king, only its spoils and cattle you shall take as booty for yourselves. If Achan had waited one more minute, one more battle, he could have got his gold and silver and frock and everything else, and it had been fine. It wasn't the stuff that he took. It was the attitude that I'm going to see it, covet it, take it, and hide it. That was what made it a curse. God's stuff, you take and then hide it. Okay? Only its spoil and cattle you take for yourself, but lay an ambush around the city. I love it. Here we go. This is for Tom in the back, because he'll like strategy. Okay? Ai is still there, by the way. It's a different Ai if you're studying archaeology in the last 30 years. I love this because it shows just where we are in science as well. Because if you studied this thing 30 years back, it was a different Ai. They had a different city that they had uncovered, and they deemed it Ai. And it wasn't. Literally, they found in the ruins here, this is a hill. You can see it. It's one thing built upon another, built upon another. It is literally an archaeological parfait, that they call it a tell. Is that where you literally have a city, it's defeated, crushed, and they use that as the base for their new city, and they build on top of it. That city, through history, is crushed down, becomes the base for the new city. And it's literally a parfait as you go right up through, so you have to dig down if you're going to be Indiana Jones and the real Indiana Jones rather than jumping with a whip and all that kind of stuff. You're going to be walking around with a paintbrush, knocking dirt off old stuff. Okay? Literally, it goes down. Now they've discovered the real AI, because the other AI didn't work out in Scripture. It wasn't positioned right. It had to have the gates facing north and all that, the town that they did, so that they just plain said, well, if it doesn't agree with what we're seeing in this town, the Bible must be wrong. So we won't believe that this is a real story, that the story of AI is really an allegory. It's on good and evil, and that you shouldn't do nasty stuff. Sounds scientific nowadays. Now they found the real AI, and it matches exactly what the Bible said. Gates are in the right position, all that kind of stuff. They found the real one, and it agrees with the Bible. The same way that science sometimes, when they find the real thing, it goes, I agree with the Bible. Who knew? Okay, you ready? It's still there, by the way. And it is still AI. AI means ruins. That's what it means. The fun part in the Old Testament, it is never by itself. It has a definite article all the time, so it's a specific. The ruins. It was so significant, it got its name. AI. The ruins. Okay? And so literally, it is still the ruins. You can see they built stuff on it if you want to be an archaeologist and see the different types of walls and stuff. If you're an archaeologist, you can see that and go, oh, that's a late bronze wall. Oh, that's an iron wall. Okay? That's what those guys get you for those graduate study hours. It's big money. If you're what is called in the archaeological group potholders, okay, they go out and get potsherds. I love this. And then you go home and you glue it all together, and you've got something there, boy, that collects dust like every other pot. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. In fact, in AI, they even have what is called slot stones. Slot stones are the stones that would sit down, and the embers of the walls would actually sit in them and rotate like a hinge. They even have those facing north, by the way, exactly the way they're supposed to, as far as history in the Bible is concerned. Pretty good stuff. You're going to have them going out now from Jericho up to Ai. And I mean, it's up 800 feet below to 2,500 feet above sea level. You ready to go? Here it comes. Battle strategy. You're going to have Makuk up here in Swaninet. Okay? Is down here on the bottom. Both of these are wadis. They're dry riverbeds that are dry all the time except when it rains really deep. Okay? So what happened to them on the original one, they climbed up this, you'll actually see this in a second. They climbed up this thing, attacked the city, and then boom, would run clear back down this thing. It was awful. He says, capitalize on that. They got it in their head, you're coming with about 2,000 or 3,000 people, you're going to trap it. Here's how you're going to do it. It's God's strategy, not Joshua's. I want you to take a major group of people up the wadi and stay at this little kink in it where you can't see. Then I want you to take 2,000 or 3,000 guys up here and attack just like you did before, only look really afraid. Ah, they're going to get us. This time, stick around enough that they can chase you. It's like, oh, I hurt my leg. Okay? And literally, they're going to come chasing you out of the city. I want you to get those doors open for their city. I want you to go up this wadi. Okay, there's the big one up at the top. Okay, I want to get the peep on it so you can see how big these things are. Where you can hide. Well, how can you hide an army? You can hide an army in one of these. Okay, that's the big one. Then the one down below it. Swaninet one. There it is. So they go up the other side. Major group. Now, here's what you're going to do. I want you to go up this one with a major group of people, split them right here. This group will come up, send about 2,000 or 3,000 up, attack. When they chase you, they're going to be chasing you down through here. Oh no, here they come, until they get to the kink right here. And almost they're going to fall right into the teeth of a major army. Meanwhile, while they're running out, you're going to split this, you're going to go in the city, ransack the city, take the city and burn it, taking all the stuff out of it at the same time, and then a major force is going to come right behind you. We got them in a pincer move. We're coming right up the valley. They're tough. What a great strategy. Well, they pulled it off. I love it. Here they go. Oh, you guys got us, you got us. I love this face. I love looking at the face of this guy. Oh, hi. He's just so, come and get me. There we go. I just love it. And they did just that. All the fighting men of the city ran down that one little, ravine, that wadi. When they turn back around, they look, their city's in flames. When they go back to try to get to the city, they find another army coming right down on top of it. They annihilate Ai. The ruins. That was what was left. For Joshua did not draw back his hand, nor stretched out his spear, and utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Only the livestock and the spoils of the city of Israel, which they took as booty, Achan could have gotten his, okay, according to the word of the Lord, which he commanded Achan. And so Joshua burned Ai and made a heap of it forever in desolation until this day, hence the name, the ruins. You ready? We're not done. And Joshua built an altar to the Lord on Mount Ebal. Mount Ebal is a bald, that's how you remember, Ebal. Beautiful mountain, but it is just bald. At the top of it is just rock, nothing but desolation. Just rock, rock, and more rock. The thing of it is, it comes down, has a city right in the bottom, and then another hill that goes up called Mount Gerizim. Mount Gerizim is as gorgeous can be. Beautiful trees and stuff. So you got beautiful trees and then ugly. Pretty and ugly. Pretty and ugly. Literally side by side with each other with this little narrow valley in between. And so, literally, he says, he built an altar on the top of the bald one. Okay? And he gives sacrifices up there. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, that's the Bible that they have, written in that book of Moses, an altar of stones which no man has yielded an iron tool, and they offered burnt offerings on it and sacrificed peace offerings to the Lord. A stone of remembrance. You've got stones at Gilgal. You've got stones now in the middle of Achor, which is a mound that God takes sin real seriously. And now you're going to have literally on this bald mountain an altar that is still there today. Top of Mount Ebal, you go there today, there's the altar. Everyone else is like, what, Bible, I don't know if it's right. There's the rocks, dude. Check it out. Back on track, you ready? And there was not a word that Moses had commanded that Joshua did not read before the assembly of Israel. You know how they read it to them? They sang it. From the bottom, the choir master had flags. And he had choirs all the way up Ebal on one side, Gerizim on the other. And they talked about the blessings of the Lord and the warnings of the Lord. And he would take his flags and he would throw over to this side, and the choirs would sing the blessings of the Lord. Then he would take the flags and he would put them to the other side, and they'd say, the warnings of the Lord. Serve him or you're going to get it. Remember the heap of stones for one person? Remember Ai, the ruins? Well, it's right in our head. Look what happens. But look what happens when you follow him. Whoa. That's the antiphonal singing back and forth between giving God the glory and making an altar which stands even unto this day. And said Joshua read before the assembly of Israel, and the women and the little ones. Equal opportunity gospel. It's not for dudes. It's for everyone. And the problem is you'll never be able to earn it. You have to accept it as a free gift. That puts everyone on equal basis. And everyone who is living among them, strangers, Jewish, whatever, accept that free gift. Your little memory verse for this week that you have, that you can put in your little stickers and stuff, and says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. Anyone wants to come in with me and dine with me and meet with him? I'm standing at the door knocking. Look at the reference for that thing. Go back and look. He's not knocking at a stranger's door. He's knocking on the door of a lukewarm church. He's saying, hey, let me in on church. And if you let me in, I'll come and dine with you and you dine with me. Open your heart to me. You'll never be able to earn it. You accept it as a free gift. That way, every man, woman, and child can accept Him on His terms. Amen? Let's stand as we pray.